There we go. Okay. Thereupon he rose, without any further explanation. Oh wait, I read that already. Oh, very gently. He called her again, but Christine was wrapped up in her book and did not hear him. Eric returned, mixed the Dargona a draft, and advised him not to speak to his wife again, nor to anyone, because it might be very dangerous to everybody's health. Eventually the Persian fell asleep like Monsieur de Chagny, and did not wake until he was in his own room, nursed by his faithful Darius, who told him that on the night before he was found propped against the door of his flat, where he had been brought by a stranger who rang the bell before going away. As soon as Dargona recovered his strength and his wits, he sent to Count Philippe's house to inquire after the Viscount's health. The answer was that the young man had not seen Count Philippe, and that Count Philippe was dead. His body was found on the bank of the Opera Lake, to the Rue Scribes' side, and the Persian remembered the Requiem Mass which he had heard from behind the wall of the torture chamber, and he had no doubt concerning the crime and the criminal. Knowing Eric as he did, he easily reconstructed the tragedy. Thinking that his brother had run away with Christine Daae, Philippe had dashed in pursuit of him along with the Brussels road, where he knew that everything was prepared for the elopement. Failing to find the pair, he hurried back to the opera, remembering Raoul's strange confidence about his fantastic rival, and learned that the Viscount had made every effort to enter the cellars of the theater, and that he had disappeared, leaving his hat in the prima donna's dressing room beside an empty pistol case. And the Count, who no longer entertained any doubt of his brother's madness, in turn darted into the infernal underground maze. This was enough, in the Persian's eyes, to explain the discovery of the Comte de Chagny's corpse on the shore of the lake, where the sirens, Eric's siren, kept watch. The Persian did not hesitate. He determined to inform the police. Now the case was in the hands of an examining magistrate called Fair, an incredulous, commonplace, superficial sort of person. I write as I think, with a mind utterly unprepared to receive a confidence of this kind. Monsieur Fair took down the Dargonia's deceptions and proceeded to treat him as a madman. Despairing of ever obtaining a hearing, the Persian sat down to write. As the police did not want his evidence, perhaps the press would be glad of it, and he had just written the last line of the narrative I have quoted in the preceding chapter, when Darius announced the visit of the stranger who refused his name, who would not show his face, and declared simply that he did not intend to leave the place until he had spoken to Dargonia. The person at once felt who his singular visitor was and ordered him to be shown in. Dargonia was right. It was the ghost. It was Eric. He looked extremely weak and leaned against the wall, as though he were afraid of falling. Taking off his hat, he revealed a forehead white as wax. The rest of the horrible face was hidden by the mask. The Persian rose to his feet as Eric entered. Murder the Count Philippe? What have you done with his brother and Christine Daae? Eric staggered under this direct attack, kept silent for a moment, dragged himself to a chair, and heaved a breath, a deep sigh, speaking words in short phrases and gasping for breath between the words. Dragonia, don't talk to me about Count Philippe. He is dead. By the time I left my house, he was dead. When the siren sang, it was an accident. A very sad accident. He fell very awkwardly, but simply and naturally into the lake. You lie! Shouted the Persian. Eric bowed his head and said, I have not come here to talk about Count Philippe, but to tell you that I'm going to die. Where are Raoul de Chagny and Christine Daae? I am going to die. Raoul de Chagny and Christine Daae have loved Daronga. I am dying of love. That is how it is. I loved her so, and love her still. Dragonia, I am dying of love for her. I tell you. If you knew how beautiful she is. And she let me kiss her alive. It was the first time, Dragora, the first time I ever kissed a woman. Yes, alive. I kissed her alive. She looked as beautiful as if she had been dead. The person shook Eric by the arm. Will you tell me if she is alive or dead? Why do you shake me like that? Asked Eric, making an effort to speak more connectedly. I tell you that I am going to die. Yes, I kissed her alive. And now she is dead. I tell you I kissed her just like that, on her forehead. And she did not draw back her forehead from my lips. She is a good girl. And as to her being dead, I don't think so. But it has nothing to do with me. No. No, she is not dead. And no one shall touch her. And no one shall touch a hair on her head. She is a good, honest girl. And she saved your life, Dragonia. At a moment when I would not have given 2 pence for your Persian skin. As a matter of fact, nobody bothered about you. Why were you there with that little chap? You would... have died, as well as he. My word, how she entreated me for her little chap. But I told her that, as she had turned a scorpion, she had, through that very fact, and of her own free will, become engaged to me, and that she did not need to have 2 men engaged to her, which was true enough. As for you, you did not exist. You had ceased to exist, I tell you, and you were going to die with each other.